Welcome to the Explainer. You might not realize it, but there are four really powerful AI trends working together right now to change pretty much everything, from the food on your plate to the satellites orbiting our planet. So today, we're going to connect those dots and show you exactly how it all fits together.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a problem that honestly affects every single one of us: food waste. I mean, the amount of food that gets thrown out every year because it spoils is just shocking. And a lot of the time, the culprit is something super simple, like a tiny shift in temperature.
And look, this isn't some theoretical problem. There's actually a company, Discover Foods, that's tackling this head-on. And they're using tech that you probably have in your home or even on your wrist right now. They're basically turning a regular old storage pantry into this smart, predictive brain that stops food from going bad before it even has a chance.
So here's the breakdown. They've got these little sensors that are constantly checking the temperature of the food. All that data gets fed into an AI model. And this is the cool part. It doesn't just tell you what the temperature was, it actually predicts what it's going to be. It alerts the staff before there's a problem. So just by connecting a physical thing, the food, to the internet, they're solving this huge real-world issue.
This whole idea, well, it has a name. It's called the Internet of Things, or IoT for short. And really, at its heart, it's all about making everyday stuff smart. You stick a sensor in it, connect it to a network, and suddenly it can collect data and talk, either to other devices or directly to us.
And the scale here, it's just mind-boggling. I mean, analysts are saying that by 2025, we're looking at over 50 billion devices connected to the internet. That's not just a network, that's like a planet-wide nervous system of smart objects. Okay, so we've got billions of these smart devices out there, right? And they're all collecting just an insane amount of data. But where does all that data go? And more importantly, how do you even begin to process it all? Well, that brings us to the engine room for this whole revolution: the cloud.
Now, the official definition here from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, yeah, it sounds pretty dense and technical. But trust me, the idea behind it is actually super simple.
The best way to think about it is like the power grid for your house, right? You don't go out and build your own power plant. You just plug into the outlet on the wall and you pay for the juice you use. The cloud is exactly that, but for computing power. It lets any company, big or small, tap into massive amounts of processing power and just pay for what they need, when they need it.
But what's really cool is that plugging into the cloud isn't just one thing. It's more like a menu of services, a stack, if you will. Down at the bottom, you've got Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS. Think of this as renting the raw digital land and building materials, the servers, the storage. You're in charge of building the house. Then you can move up to Platform as a Service, PaaS. Here, it's like you're renting a fully equipped workshop. The vendor gives you the tools and the framework, so you can just focus on creating your thing. And at the very top, you've got Software as a Service, SaaS. This is the finished product. It's like moving into a fully furnished apartment. Think Gmail or Netflix. You just log in and use it. It's this flexibility that's really the cloud's secret weapon.
And believe me, the need for this kind of power is absolutely staggering. Just look at a company like Gojek in Indonesia. They're processing 4 to 5 terabytes of data every single day. That's an astronomical amount of information. There's just no way you could handle that on your own without the cloud.
All right, let's keep building here. So, we have data coming in from billions of connected things, and we have the cloud to process it all. Now let's add a whole new dimension, a layer that changes everything: location.
You see, traditional data analytics is great. It tells you who did something, what they did, and when they did it. But geospatial analytics, that adds the where. And that one little word is an absolute game changer. All of a sudden, your data isn't just a bunch of numbers in a spreadsheet anymore. It's alive. It's a point on a map with real-world context.
And if you want a perfect example of why where matters so much, just look at Starbucks. For a company like that, location isn't just a small detail. It's the entire business. They use location data for everything. They analyze traffic patterns, demographics, and get this, they even look at weather data. That's how they know the exact right moment to start pushing frappuccinos in a specific city.
Okay, so let's recap. We've connected things to the internet, and we've mapped out where they are in the world. But what if AI could also see? And that, my friends, brings us to our next major trend: image analytics. This is all about turning pixels into power. By teaching AI to analyze images from satellites, drones, you name it, we're creating this totally new kind of information that experts have started calling alternative data.
A great example is this app called Canapo, which came out of Oklahoma State University. It literally turns a regular smartphone camera into a super powerful tool for farmers. A farmer just snaps a photo of their crops, and the app gets to work. It analyzes every single pixel, looks at the color values, and figures out exactly what percentage of the ground is covered by healthy green plants. And here's the kicker. This super simple analysis gives farmers data they can act on immediately, right there in the field. They can get a better estimate of their crop yield, figure out when to move their cattle, or even check for damage after a storm, all from one picture on their phone. It's incredible. So we've got these 4 huge trends, right? IoT, the cloud, geospatial data, and image analytics. And on their own, each one is incredibly powerful. But the real magic, the really world-changing stuff, happens when you start combining them. That's when you can tackle problems that seemed completely unsolvable before. Take Unilever, for example. They set this huge, ambitious goal, a completely deforestation-free supply chain. Now, that's a massive challenge, because the key ingredient like palm oil comes from these long, tangled supply chains where it's almost impossible to see what's happening at the very beginning, at the source.
So how do you solve that? Well, they teamed up with a company called Orbital Insight to build a toolkit that pulls together everything we've been talking about. They use image analytics from satellites to literally see if deforestation is happening. They use location data from things like cell phones to trace the journey of the crops. And they use the massive power of the cloud to process all this information and connect all the dots. It's brilliant.
And when you step back, this is the bigger picture you start to see. It's not about any single piece of tech in isolation. It's about a whole ecosystem. Our homes, our cars, our entire industries, they're all becoming part of this giant, interconnected web of data and intelligence.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The real revolution isn't about IoT or the cloud or any single one of these things on its own. The revolution is in their convergence. It's about how we combine them to take this absolute flood of new data and turn it into insights we can actually use to make better decisions. And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. As our world gets more connected, more measured, more observable than at any point in history, what's the next big, impossible question that this incredible convergence of technology is finally going to help us answer?